this evening. The meeting today is Monday, July the 14th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. We are meeting at Norwood Town Hall, 566 Washington Street in the Finance Commission room. So we do have a quorum for this evening, and everyone has the agenda. This evening we'll be reviewing and approving the minutes from our last meeting, which is February 4th, earlier this year. Mike has distributed a status update on FY25 capital projects, the plan that we approved last year. So we have a question and answer on that particular status update. We have a first look at FY25 capital projects. Again, it's first look. Let's have a discussion around that. And that first look, Mike will help take us through that. And that first look also includes a funding source breakdown. That's another agenda item. Funding source breakdown for FY26. As we sit here today, things might change as we go forward through the summer. We will talk about our schedule and agenda for future meetings. As a reminder, our full plan is submitted to town meeting in the fall. Our fall town meeting is scheduled for November the 13th. So when we get to that agenda item, we probably just want to work back from the 13th and just look at the work to be done and start outlining some of our meeting schedules for now to the 13th of November. So a little bit of work to do. All right. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from our meeting of February 4th, 2025, which it was, I guarantee you, a lot more full than it is tonight. Any questions about the minutes? If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
And your second. We don't have any voting members online, so this could be a voice vote. All in favor of approval of minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approved. Unanimous. Our second item for this evening is the status update of FY25 projects. So what we've done in the last couple of years is Mike has kindly been putting together retrospectively just an update to us in terms of our programs that we approved last year. It's just sort of FYI. I think we all think it's a good idea that if we do all this work associated with approving a plan, it's a nice to do for us to review how the work is going. So, Mike, anything highlighted here? I will say one highlight, I guess, is that the pool is opening tomorrow.
1 o'clock. Yep.
1 o'clock.
Yep.
I just drove by today. It's actually, the gate is open.
Yes.
The parking lot is clean.
Yep.
And a little later than expected, but
well, that pool should last us a long time. So
well, if you get 80 years out of it, we'll be doing well. That's the age of the one that was replaced.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Good to see you all again. I know it's been a while. I think like the chair said, it's been a good sort of practice for us to touch base on our capital projects from the last fiscal year. In this case, it was the projects that were funded at the fall town meeting last year. And a lot of good progress has been made since then. We also are keeping tabs on 3 FY24 projects, which are Hawes Pool, the traffic signals on Washington Street, and the designing and replacing of the water tank. So those are actually FY24 projects that are major projects, and we shouldn't lose sight of them. So really, I mean, the materials speak for themselves. We did reach out to each of the departments. It's also become part of the we just do it every month now. It's part of our practice, just making sure that the departments kind of give us an update. And you'll see most of the projects are underway that were funded at FY25. A lot of them are complete. Obviously, there's some long lead times with the fire equipment, which does impact our upcoming our capital plan, because we have to build in these 3-year, sometimes up to 4-year lead times on engines. The traffic signal project, as mentioned, they actually mobilized last week, and you might have seen some construction going on Manhattan Street. So they're working on in front of the fire and police station, and then next up is Manhattan and Lenox Street. So that's underway. As the chair said, we're very excited that the Hawes Pool is actually opening tomorrow to the public at 1 o'clock. That'll be July 15th, Tuesday, July 15th at 1 o'clock. Just about a month late, but as there were construction issues, and that's it's a long story, but but it looks really nice. If anyone's actually been down there, it's beautiful. We're really looking forward to seeing what the public has to say about their new pool. Well, most of the trucks were received. Salt Truck 6 is waiting delivery. Traffic study on Washington Street in my lot will occur after the Copley Middle School opens in September. From the recreation world, the Ibitz courts and Savage Center pickleball courts renovation has been ongoing. New asphalt's been laid. Yeah, I mean, if there's any specific questions that the committee would like, I can relay to departments for our next meeting. And if not, happy to entertain any questions you might have that I might be able to answer. Thanks.
I was just at a meeting at 4:30 for the middle school building committee, and the parking lot at Savage is just being completed. So they just have a little bit of paving to do there, but it's boarded off right now, but I think in a day or two that'll be opened up for parking. So another parking lot is completed. Any questions?
I have a question about the wildlife fence replacement on the airport. The airport has applied for a federal grant through FAA. So I thought we had sort of a rolling grant down there for these kinds of things. Yes, no?
No, my understanding is that there are specific grants that are awarded every year for a specific project.
Okay.
And then the FAA, I think, picks up about 90% of the cost.
Okay.
Depending on the project, I think it's 95.5.
Yeah.
5 local, 5
Usually,
state.
usually we're a 5 to 10%
Yes,
match.
that's right.
But it's not rolling. It's different. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but it is a different. Everyone goes through the process for
Okay.
FAA approval.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe
They
you're
don't
right.
have like a bucket of grant money. They can just go with it. The grant money needs to be specific to the project that approved by FAA.
And any projects you see for the airport that are in the capital plan are, that's the town share, the numbers that are listed. So the overall projects are obviously a lot larger dollar amounts than just the town share.
All right.
Mike, those two under the airport, I have this question on a lot of them, and I'm not asking you to go through them right now, but maybe it can be added in the future. It says things like it's almost complete, or you're telling us when it's starting with the wildlife fence, but I have no idea how long an effort that is or when that would be complete. Is that something that could be added in the future, just the rough timeline of
Yeah,
the completion date or month at least?
Yeah.
Some idea?
To go along with that, I read the airport has applied for a federal grant through FAA. And I was thinking to myself, well, they got a contract, bidding had been concluded, they got a contract. And why weren't we applying during that process? I don't know.
If you don't get the grant, does the project get canceled?
Right.
yes, I would assume so. Yes, because right, the money that we're raising isn't enough to support the entire project. That's right.
And then on the Haas pool, I drove by this evening and saw that it's pretty cleaned up, but there is one massive pile of dirt there. Is that not going to be taken away till after the pool is closed, or they
Yeah.
try to do that when kids are there?
It actually depends on when they're still sampling it, making sure that it's not contaminated soil, or if it's minimal contamination. But basically that's due to just be taken out on the street side, so it won't impact the pool side at all. They're going to take down that fence there, and then the soil will go out, but it does get picked up. It gets carted to like Maryland's Landing, which is like a facility that processes soil. The timeline will depend on when they can take it and when sampling is all done. I know that is active still. That is going to be something that the excavation that's happening right now to create the swale along the perimeter of the pool. So, but yes, that soil, the pool can open with the soil pile there. Yes, it will be continued to be fenced off so kids can't get in there.
Okay.
Any other questions about the status report?
I got another one. And it's like the first one was the public safety apparatus floor construction. And this is just probably the way that things are worded, and I apologize. But, project awarded, expected construction time 3 weeks, working on contract with procurement.
Mhm.
Seems like it's out of order.
Yeah,
No, I don't think it is.
no,
Mike can correct me, but I think you award the project and then you negotiate the specifics contract with the procurement, with the winner. So the bid is in, but I don't believe the bid itself is equivalent to being the contract.
it's one.
I don't know, it isn't.
I think they also do like other documents, make sure the insurance is up to code, reference checks and things like that. So they say, like you said, Mr. Chair, they say, okay, that's the low bidder. And then like you said, it's a little bit of negotiation. They also want to gather all the materials that are required to formalize the contract.
Right.
It's more of a finalizing the contract rather than, the way it's worded, it sounds like, well, now we're going to start writing it. Well, no, it's all written. It's a matter of getting the signatures and filling in the boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, maybe let's think about voting, I don't know. Okay.
Any other questions? So those two public works department, the traffic signals and the design and replace the water tanks. From an investment perspective, those are two of the largest projects we have going on right now. The traffic signals was north of, I think, $5 million. And our replace the water tanks, I think we came in at about 14 or 15 million. So it'd be great to see how they come along, because those are very large projects. And I imagine you can't help but see what's going to be happening with the traffic signals, because there's going to be a lot of traffic work being done along Manhattan and Washington Street over the next year or so. All right. Anything else on the status update? Mike, thank you for giving a report out, getting a report out to the. All right, now the star of the game here. Our proposed capital plan for FY 26 to 30. So here we have the latest and greatest report. Mike,
Yeah.
I think maybe a good starting point might be just kind of talking through, we approved a 5-year plan last year. And if you could just highlight maybe where we're seeing some changes from last year's plan.
Sure.
What's new and what's been put off and
Okay.
changed. This is input that you've already gotten from your department heads, and this reflects their priorities.
Yes,
Correct.
that's right. So maybe just a quick 30 seconds about how we got to this point. So generally, when we start the new capital cycle for the new year, it's always after annual town meeting ends. That's when we get into capital mode. We take a look at last year's 5-year plan and what was projected for year 2 of the 5-year plan, and kind of just shifted over one column to the left. That's our starting point. So in theory, everything that was in year 2 of last year's plan should be year 1 of this year's plan, and so on. We take that, we gather the department heads. Usually we have 2 to 4, depending on the year, meetings with the department heads, and kind of say, okay, here's what your plan said you were going to be looking at for the next 4 years. What's changed, and also what's your 5th year look like in the 4 years. And then that's when all the shuffling happens. So a couple of examples. One was, I know that the facilities department added that project for roof repairs at multiple buildings. Specifically, the first year, FY 26 is $3 million tranche, has to do with the Willett School, the roofing there. That's something that was guided by the need of that project, and also the need of roofing over the next 4 years, including this year, just throughout various school buildings, and possibly town buildings too, but I think specifically schools at first, to bring them up to standards. I guess the Willett School roof is in rough shape. So that was a new add to the plan. There may have been some dollar amount changes with the airport projects, but nothing too substantial. And then I think the other big one was the library facade repairs. I know last year we were projecting a number of about 660,000 for that line item, but that was with the understanding that Udenzello, which is a consulting firm, was doing their study of the leaking of the roof at the library, and their report was going to guide what the number was actually going to be in for next year. And they've come back to us. The manager was involved, as well as the library and the facilities departments, and they've guided us to the fact that that's actually going to cost $2 million to solve the leaking at the library. That $2 million would be borrowed, very likely. I know we're talking about funding sources next, but the in the out years, you'll notice that below this line, there are two other lines having to do with library MEP and then also library painting, FFB and carpets. That's still all sort of part of the Udenzello's design, but it's spaced out over a couple of fiscal years so that it doesn't all hit at the same time. But the $2 million in fiscal year 26 should solve the leaking from the outside, like the penetration from the elements. There may be some other things having to do with MEP, like the AC and the HVAC, and might have some what they call puddling or condensation, I guess, something like that. And that would be addressed by that $2 million further out in the plan. 250 to do with design, and then 2 million in the future. So that's sort of probably the biggest ticket change. The fire engine, 2.5 million. We knew that dollar amount was coming. I do think it may have gotten escalated a bit in the plan just based on the timing of how fire apparatus take now a lot longer to be made and customized. So that I think got escalated into the plan into fiscal year 26. They are also asking for a new ambulance as well. And you'll see ambulances almost in every year of the plan. I think that's a combination of the lead time plus also the hospital, the wear and tear on the ambulances going out of town. So the chief has asked for ambulances with, as you can see, an escalating factor each year. They're getting more expensive.
How many ambulances or ambulance fires?
It's one per year for 4 of the 5 fiscal years.
So we're getting 4 ambulance?
These are
We have
replacement. I think
right?
we have 2 ALS,
We have 2.
and I think what this is doing is rotating the replacement of those existing 2 on a every 4 to 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, so what it says is the fire department's improved the capital plan accounts for replacement of an ambulance every 4 years.
Yeah.
With an older ambulance being put into reserve and the least
Got it.
serviceable ambulance taken
Okay.
offline. Each ambulance takes 2+ years now to take delivery from the vendor. So it is that long of a timeline.
Mhm.
So we're actually
So-
kind of like, we're almost like approving and buying one, and then shortly thereafter,
Yeah, doing that.
putting a plan together for the next, because it takes so long for us to receive the vehicle.
Exactly. 2 other highlights, so to speak. One is we do have a new project here under Public Works for sidewalk repair replacement. That is something that I believe a commitment from the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Chair, that I think that the selectmen have committed to getting some sidewalk improvements. I'll let you talk about that one.
We had a recommendation from Mark Ryan from DPW a few months ago that there is a need for sidewalk repair. We haven't dedicated any money for sidewalk repair, major sidewalk repair, since 2016. And prior to that, I think the last time we had town meeting approved funding for sidewalk repair project was 2002 maybe. And even at that, those 2 appropriations were probably less than well under $1 million. So the selectmen did approve Mr. Ryan's plan to have a institute. Now that we've gone through, no longer are we funding $2.5 million for road repair. We've caught up with our road repair. So it seems appropriate for the DPW to now focus on similar approach to getting our sidewalks and better repair.
Can I,
Yeah, go right ahead.
what kind of sidewalk? There are
Asphalt.
2 kinds. There's
2 kinds.
asphalt and
There's
then there's
asphalt.
the-
Mostly it's asphalt. I think it's,
Hot mix out.
yeah, I think
Okay.
the vast majority is asphalt.
Okay,
And probably just a mile or 2 of concrete paving with the granite.
It says here in Mr. Ryan's language that amount of money, $950,000, is sufficient to fund the resurfacing of 13 miles of hot mix asphalt sidewalk. And that reconstructs almost half a mile, 0.4 miles of cement concrete sidewalks.
Right. And then this would be a several year plan. So with subsequent years, he would make a recommendation for how many miles of asphalt sidewalks we have to do, how many miles we need for concrete sidewalks. I think year 1 is the heaviest year.
Yes.
has the state changed its regulations on Title 90 funds being used if we're doing the roads? We can submit the sidewalk repair and get the cinder block type sidewalks.
Chapter 90?
Yeah.
Talking about chapter 90 road work. I don't know, it might be a question we could ask Mr. Ryan, but I'm not
Because
Sure.
I was under the impression that when we did the roads at one time, we would get reimbursed by the state if we used the harder concrete sidewalks. That's why we were using them at the same time as we were doing the road.
It's something we can check with Mark about.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of specifics like that.
And I agree. The only thing I can add is that I know we do have, chapter 90 is programmed, still part of our, the pavement program. That's, operating budget project here. So that is still something we pursue, but that's road surfacing, not sidewalk surfacing, I think.
Okay.
And then just the last highlight I had before we jump into any potential questions is that, and I saw Sean Mannion joined us virtually, that the schools, which traditionally there's technology trends with the annual town meetings because of the grants, the E-rate grants that they pursue. The schools this year are going to try to jump on the rest of the capital cycle for technology. So in fiscal year.
Mike.
Sorry, Sean, go ahead.
Sorry, I have some new information. So the superintendent and the director of IT, Joe Kidd, they conferred and they decided it's best to keep it in the spring. But there's another reason for that. We got an earmark for the 70,000. So we may see that first line of IT stuff paid by earmarks. So it seems like it might be prudent to wait for the spring town meeting like we have been doing. And then if the earmarks come through like they are in the budget right now for this from the state, then we may not need to ask for that amount from spring town meeting.
Okay, thank you, Sean. I thanks for telling me. Maybe we can connect later or. when you're
Yeah,
back.
sorry.
Sorry, because I don't know if does that shift the rest of the plan out, because we put everything the way it was here.
I don't think it would shift anything. It just may mean we might not need that first year of funding. We might not need to ask the town for it because it seems like the rep asked for it in an earmark. So if it comes through, we might have it already covered, basically.
Okay.
And sorry to come late with this to you. I just heard from the superintendent about that a couple days ago.
Okay, hot off the presses, you heard it.
Yeah.
So if,
So I didn't. Sorry. Before you got too further into it, I just thought I'd offer that in there.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thank you.
So Sean, if that would take care of this particular year, IT need, do you expect in the future the technology needs would move to the fall agenda, or what do you anticipate for next year's plan? Will we be looking at shifting the technology request to this process, this timing, or will the capital outlay be?
We've had some back and forth about it. I think there's, on the one hand, it makes sense because it's all capital, and then sometimes at spring town meeting, it's a little bit, there's questions from town meeting members about why we're asking for the capital. On the other hand, I think now that we've been doing it in town meeting in the spring, we've sort of set that expectation, and it corresponds with when the E-rate funding happens. So we don't find out the pricing locked in until about March. So to go for spring town meeting, usually we know the pricing pretty solidly by then and whether it will be approved for the E-rate. But I think this year in particular, we wait and see what happens with the earmark, and then maybe we can make a decision about whether the spring or fall in a year from now or something like that. I think that's what the superintendent was sort of relaying to me.
Okay.
Okay.
So next version of the plan might be a little different based on finalization of the earmark. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean. So then just to sort of summarize, the FY26 projects that we're asking for you to consider this year, what I did is on the pages following the spreadsheet are the narratives for each of those projects. This is basically what I provided tonight is a snippet of the capital outlays yearly report. We actually do have this report in pretty good shape for the entire 5 years, but I didn't want to get too ahead of myself, so I just provided FY26 tonight. So I'm hoping that this narrative, and also you'll see the funding sources are enumerated for each project. There's only 3 borrowing projects that, at least general fund borrowing. Everything else is slated for potential free cash. That's in consultation with our finance director about that. Obviously, the water projects get charged to the water fund and so on, but the roof, the library, and the fire truck would be the 3 borrowed projects as projected, or as presented, I should say. So I think I'll leave it at that, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Obviously, if there are any other questions, we can get the departments to answer them too if I don't know the answers. So thank you.
Well, we got Clayton here. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the library. So we have a 2 million borrowing for the FY 25, and then out year FY 30, it's a $10 million project, which I assume would be the total foundation of the library. So these are not connected, correct?
Mr. Chair, are you looking at the most recent? That's not the most
Yeah,
recent.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at a preview of that. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I have the out year one. So.
11 o'clock this morning, that's what we got.
Oh, yes, this has changed. I'm looking at an old report. So when did we push out the renovation of the library without year beyond FY 30?
And the Italian Tony, we're not even talking about it, just this time with repairs.
Repaired, okay, all right, so that's new information. The $2 million is just for repair, it's not a design service, it's just to repair
The design or roads repair, so that was the penetration testing, we said this right.
okay,
So this is the construction of the,
The 2 million is to repair the envelope of the building.
okay.
Yeah,
Can-
that's that with 25, 26.
We need to update the description, because description is all about painting. I think that goes to the other project. We need to have it, somebody talks about the fact we did a study and we did a study yet. So that needs to be.
And again, are there any state funding? Because the last time we had a major renovation for a library, there was state funding available.
That is something we can look into. The Massport Library Commissioner has been hit by some of the federal budget cuts.
Yeah, I
So
can
we'll have to see
tell.
what the availability is for this, what's happening with the state budget at this time. But it's certainly something we can look into.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions on the overall plan. In general, I think if we have an item for design or a study, you should always have a corresponding item for construction of those improvements, so we can see the whole picture. So there's several that don't seem to have that. Study of HVAC at elementary schools, we've got 250 for the study, but no even placeholder for the construction. At the bottom of the page, they have the fire turnout gear room design. Again, nothing for constructing of it. And then, let's see, what's the other ones? Next page, cemetery expansion design. And we have construction for that. And then the Meadowbrook stuff, I think, won $750,000, Meadowbrook drain improvements, Murphy Field design. I didn't see a corresponding construction for that. And yeah, those are the ones that need a construction added, so we can see the picture.
Okay.
And just a couple other comments on the first page. We have 4 generators,
Yeah,
3 in 1 year and 1 in the next year. Wouldn't it make sense to put them all in the same year and do them all at once?
I think they were intentionally staggered.
I would think that we want to stay there then.
Well, yeah.
Or do 1 a year, but I mean, if you're doing, wouldn't it be economies of scale if you just put out 4 generators? You know, or as you said, do 1 in year 1, 1 in year 2, 3, 4, you know, just do it
Yeah,
4 years.
yeah,
That's the other way to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I'll certainly ask, yeah.
yeah, that didn't quite make sense. Let's see, there was one other thing. Oh, okay, on the last page, the water improvement program. My understanding was we were going to suspend that program starting in fiscal 29 when the debt service payment started hitting for the water tanks.
Okay.
And then we're gonna pick it up at some later year in the next decade once that.
That is Tony's plan, whether or not, when the exact timing regarding when we would stop the borrowing for the water, we're talking about the water pipeline borrowing, right? The 4.5
Yeah,
million.
4.5, yeah, when
Yeah.
when the
Yeah.
debt service for the tanks hit, which I think it's something like 29 or 30.
Yeah.
We were gonna.
I think we'll probably-
Accommodate that, we'd stop this extra one, keep the 500, but stop the.
So the question would be, based on today's thinking, when would one of those, when would we X out one of those to dedicate the debt
Right.
towards the tanks?
So I think it's at 29 or 30.
Yeah.
Or 29 we start, and we don't pick it up again until the next decade.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just need
That
to
is
check that.
good
And it's
question,
easy
just
just to
confirm the plan, right?
pull it across. Because particularly in FY 29, the total is pretty high.
I had a question on the one just about that, $1 million for the meter connection chamber construction. Yeah. And the description says it's due to the state working on the University Ave intersection, which I agree is needed greatly. But it just seems odd that we have to pick up the cost of doing that, you know. Wouldn't that be part of their project or some sort of state?
At what point there was discussion that we would get reimbursed for that as part of the project, so it's the confirmation.
Okay.
And you're right, why should the water ratepayers have to pay for something that doesn't benefit the water system? Yeah, just benefits the roadway, so.
Okay, sounds good.
I lost it. Yeah, okay.
Anything else?
The only other thing would be that there has been talk about, doing a neighborhood program of improvements for the elementary schools. And I didn't, other than some discrete things about roofs and HVAC, is there a larger scope of work here that's just not reflected in this plan yet?
It's a good question. We can ask Mr. Riccardi from facilities when, we probably get generate some information before we do the department heads meeting, but I know he will tell you that the 2017 facility report did identify millions of dollars of capital improvements that were needed in elementary schools beyond it's not inclusive of the building of the new middle school. So,
Right.
and
beyond just repair work,
Right.
replace a roof, replace a boiler.
right.
replace
So the roof,
stations,
yeah. So, yeah, I think the roofing probably was the priority, and that's why he had the study done there. But you're right, what are the other needs that need to start talking about, on the plan? So good questions for facilities to also chime in on that. The overall plan.
The other
school
thing
department
is
might have
that,
something there too.
do they need to change anything in those where the different, like, okay, you got classrooms here, you got offices here and stuff like that, but now that we've moved one whole group of kids out of there, do we need to do something to accommodate everybody in a better way?
Right, because we're moving the kindergarten back in.
You're moving the fifth grade to the middle school.
Yeah.
You're opening up the Willett as an elementary school so that all schools now will be
Kindergartners come back
kindergarten,
in.
Yeah,
fourth
it
grade.
goes
Right.
back to the way it used to
Right.
be.
So we went
Right.
from 5 grades to 5 grades.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So but then the question, I think part of that
Like
study
6
was,
buildings.
but
Yeah.
also, you're back to having little ones.
Yeah.
Do you need to redo?
They're not that little. And
right, yeah.
Okay,
Sean would like to speak after that.
oh, Sean, yes, go right ahead.
It sounds like you covered it. Yeah. This coming school year, the 5 elementaries will have just grades 1 through 4. So it'll be one less grade. And then the school committee voted that the year after, so starting in 2026, the Willett will become the 6th elementary school, and kindergarten will go back to the school. So it'll be back to 5 grades, like everyone said. And I think at that point in time, because it'll be 6 elementaries spread out, there will be more space available. The schools were getting crowded, which was I think helps when the fifth grade moves up. It's helping to alleviate some of the space issues. And I think even when Willett comes online in another year, the space issues are somewhat alleviated.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Mr. Riccardi would say about other things that need to be done.
I think we can ask Mr. Riccardi for an update. I think right now what you see on the plan is that we have some attacking the issue piecemeal, whether it's generators or flooring or on this instance roofing, but I'm sure that there's a more overall need that you can address to.
I mean, I think he can address the sort of upkeep of the buildings issue, but I think the other part of the issue is the programmatic part of, do we need more classrooms? The
Mhm.
classrooms need to be reconfigured from an education
Right.
point of view. That's really a question for the school committee.
Right.
Yeah, and I think we have some aging school buildings, so I think it's revisiting that AI3 study and looking comprehensively at the elementary schools at some point in time. But I know one of the most pressing things really is the Willett roof, because it's leaked significantly. So I think that probably comes to the top of his list because there are students in there.
Right. Kevin.
With the middle school project still being open, that my interpretation would be that MSBA would not be able to help for the Willett until the Coakley is actually closed. Am I correct on that?
That was my understanding. I think that's why Mr. Riccardi put the Willett roof into this plan, because it'll be too soon to know what is left over from the Coakley project and to be able to get town meeting to vote on it. Yeah, but it needs to be, the roof needs to be done next summer, like a year from
Would
now.
not be MSBA assistance on it.
I don't know on the roof, but I think you can use the proceeds from, if there's leftover proceeds from the middle school, the town could vote those to go to another school project, but the timing won't be right, I think, in order to do the roof next summer.
Okay.
Before they close it out, they know
Yeah.
this is left. So.
What I thought.
So we'll know that not going to be shortly, but with the school is opening up in August of this year, we're pretty much completion. I think then we still have some work to do in terms of other work that's being done on the site, but I think we're getting close to a timeline where we can really ascertain what will be the final expenditure for the middle school. And from there, we can have conversations regarding the use of that excess money, if there is excess money, which likely there will be. We might be able to address some of these capital needs.
Not excess money.
Well, it's not done yet. I mean, so we're hoping it's way under budget, and we're pretty certain we'll remain under budget, but really shouldn't. Don't put the horse before the cart, so to speak. Let's get the job done. But you're right. That is a potential source for capital spending. Will be the money from construction. Good discussion. Anything else? And obviously the funding sources are indicated here right now, but as in in the past, those are subject to change as we go forward. I know that as recently as about 4 years ago, we've had changes in the funding source based on our free cash number coming in consistent with our fall town meeting. But we do have the borrowing costs here, which look pretty logical given the size of the construction contracts. But there's I guess what I'm saying was this is not the final document. We need to see the more work to be done as we go through the summer. Dan, yes.
I have two more questions, sorry. Renovation, the outdoor bathrooms in Lower Balch.
Ball field.
Ball field. I know that there used to be issues with that those bathrooms. And I was kind of surprised to see this. What are we going to do to protect this when we, build it? Question?
All right, good question for, the department head to advise us about.
Okay.
You're talking about, securing it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very definitely. I mean, it's, over the years, it goes up and down and you get some groups of kids that are messing around. And then, everybody's quiet for a couple of years and then it hopefully, yeah. The other thing I had was, questioning about the police, I had a conversation, and I'm not sure who I was talking to, but I thought it was our former chief, about, electric, using electric,
Talk about the TASER project?
no, the fleet
Oh, electric vehicles.
vehicle, yes. And so I wondered, and it says recently we started to purchase hybrid vehicles and we plan to continue to do this practice. Can we find out if the issues that one of the, our last, chief, and see that, what the difference is from like 2 years ago when I had this conversation with him. We had gotten a free electric car or something, police car, at that point.
Yeah.
And, somebody said, it doesn't fit. You can't get people in the back seat or something along those lines. So I just want to make sure that it's nice to do, but is it good?
So the, question would be for Chief Patton, when for his department head review would be, what are the pros and cons, and what is the status today of electrifying the police?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know there's been a lot of changes in the, electric car market in the last 6 months too, so it's a good question, but I noted it. Let's just we'll give a heads up to Chief Patton when his department, review is done. We'll have that question. Good questions.
You did mention the tasers about when we started that conversation. So that one had caught my eye. It wasn't a big expense, but I was just curious. Do they have a lifetime on them that says replacement program for a year?
Yeah.
I just always assumed they were like a firearm, as long as you maintain them, they could, forever, unless you wanted an upgraded model or something.
Yeah. The chief can take us through that, but my understanding was that it is kind of like rolling stock. They do have a lifespan, if you will, in like vehicles. They're trying to get this on a program so that there'll be annual replacement for that equipment that has become outdated or aged and needs to be replaced. But good question. So
Dave, I think they lease their tasers, so I think that's just the lease cost each year. So I think more like when if something.
It's not a, it is a replacement, but potentially, but it's renewing the lease.
Yeah, I think it's more the lease cost. I think if something were to wear out or break, they can just get a replacement as part of the lease. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. The department has a lease on the units and obtained all new ones in late FY23. The lease agreement is paid over time, which includes maintenance and parts replacement as well as training cartridges. So that's why it's a static amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Good question. Okay, so yeah, we've taken note. I'm just now catching up, Eric, with yours. So your fire turnout gear room design, we have the 125. You don't have a construction project, at least in this 5-year plan. We don't.
Yeah, we should always never put a study or design. It should always be a corresponding, at least a placeholder number, because you can see in the plan. Otherwise, suddenly we don't want to have that. I don't know what's coming.
Okay. All right, all good questions. By the way, I did want to make, I'm sorry, I'm a little late in announcing this, so, Anne Marie Mazzola is no longer chairing the school committee, so David Hiltz is the chair now, and he's going to represent the school committee for future meetings. So if he were here tonight, I would give him the welcome aboard, but we'll save that for our next meeting. All right, so we've done our first look at the projects. We talked a little bit about the funding source breakdown. Again, this is both the first look at the funding source, sort of our draft, if you will, for now, what we're working out during the summer. Any other questions regarding those two items? If not, we'll go to scheduling our agenda for future meetings. So, as our, do you have anything else you want to say about the library? I'm good. Okay.
I was thinking.
We're doing okay. We got a high, water's real.
Yeah.
Condensation is.
Yeah.
We're glad to be a cooling center.
There you go. So we have a November 13th town meeting, at which time the plan would be, this is presented to town meeting formally by the Capital Outlay Committee. Prior to that, there are a number of steps working backwards. We have the approval of the plan by the school department for their list of projects, the Board of Selectmen for the plan, FinCom recommendations, the information sessions that we need to also have. So all this is just kind of talk about getting meetings going in August and September to meet that deadline for a November town meeting. So as I see it, and I think this reflects what we did last year, was that the next couple of meetings, or the next meeting, I see at least two. August, I would think we want to have an opportunity to, or thereabouts August, or maybe the end of the month, we can talk about that. Okay. Kind of like do we have a number of vehicles that the committee has liked to have the truck event here in the parking lot, where you can see the ladder truck, you can see the vehicles from DPW that are being replaced, things such as that. Is that something the committee would like to do again?
Yes.
That would give us an opportunity for the department heads to come over, give you a survey, give you an idea of what's wrong. We'll move the library over here so you can, but maybe.
Can we go for a field trip to the library?
We might want to do that. That was my second
Second
meeting.
offer to host them as we look at dates and pull up our calendar.
Yeah.
I can look at availability.
Yeah, and we may not be able to, we may have to break it into two, meet here for the touch of truck and then traverse over to the library for a tour. That I think the next step for us. Then the work to be done after that would be, I believe, bringing in our department heads with the financial staff, with Jeff, Tony, department heads for the presentation. We fielded a lot of questions here. There'll probably be more as we go along. To have that presentation presented to us with the final plan for approval, as well as the final or the recommendations for the funding sources for each of those projects. So I see that as something that we could probably do August, September timeframe. So all this is a way of saying that I think we have maybe two meetings coming up where it's the review of the vehicles and the library tour. Perhaps we can dedicate one date for that. And then in August, September, I think we need to schedule our department heads meeting and obviously a vote on the plan, which based on a November 13th timeline, I think we probably want to do that before the end of September or early.
Even earlier, yeah, it'd be great.
End of September. All right. So maybe we'll just bite off.
The earlier is.
I was gonna say maybe even like by mid-September, just so that we have the time to go through all the boards, the FinCom, everything.
Yeah, exactly, mid-September. So with that,
Could we keep it on a Monday?
we can, there is it does conflict with another member's. Do we know when the planning board meets? Is there Ernie Pachakowski is a member and he can't be here tonight because of the planning board, but we might just want to be, Monday would be fine as long as we want to accommodate Ernie as best we can.
Second and fourth Mondays, generally, second and fourth Mondays.
So I make a motion to meet on the first Monday of August.
Which is the fourth.
Fourth, yes.
Does that work for everybody here?
Yes,
Yeah, that's in the library.
so,
We should probably do it at the parking lot first, right?
Right.
yeah, what if we schedule a parking lot review for like 6 PM? And maybe a meeting at 7 PM at the library?
Yeah,
The meeting room is reserved by the Italian Lodge for Norwood Day planning that.
Well, let's just talk about that a little bit. The meeting itself, do we need to have a meeting room, or is this essentially an opportunity for you to take us through?
Yeah, I'm certainly do a tour and then, I
Yeah.
don't need a meeting room, that's fine.
or,
Honestly, I could also look at I have somebody booked in the trustees room, but I could look at balancing them if we need a place to be.
Yeah,
Because I think all of us would fit. It could be a little like, if we wanted a place to sit and talk about what gets in the trustees room.
yeah, because I'm thinking in terms of I don't know if we have anything necessarily to vote on. We could, I guess, meeting minutes, but we could also meet here, do the parking lot, meet here for a brief meeting, get our business done, whether it's approval of minutes, making sure we're scheduling our next meeting out, then go to the, because I don't think the toucher truck is much more than a half hour.
Yeah.
If we met at 6 o'clock, came in here for a 6:30 meeting, adjourned by 7 o'clock or before 7 o'clock, travel to the library, get the tour, and that would be a full night. Would that work for
So
everybody?
is there anything at the library that we would be wanting to vote on?
I don't think we're ready to vote on anything yet.
Okay.
I think we save our votes for
Okay.
the department head after we meet from the
Is there anything
department.
we need to see in the room that's booked?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Simone room is the main meeting room. It's everything that you really show off is some children's resorts and some stairwells that are not even open to the public.
Okay. Behind the scenes stuff.
Yes, exactly. The ugly stuff is thankfully behind the scenes,
Okay.
except for, in the back of the stack, there's a couple ceiling tiles we dropped recently.
So for August 4th, we could post the meeting to be held in this room, but to adjourn to the parking lot and to adjourn from there to the library. And those, although we do keep meeting minutes, but not expecting any votes, so it shouldn't be too bad. It should be easy enough.
Yeah, we could do that. I had it written down, we just do the parking lot review, then come back here, do a meeting and go, because I don't
Okay,
really
good
think
way
we need to be formally in session to do the parking lot review.
No, a board, open meeting law allows you a board to go and take a
Yeah.
site tour without.
Maybe do 6 PM, we, that way we get the vehicles out here. Yeah.
Still daylight, yeah.
Then at 6:30, we come in here, do our, conduct our business, then travel to the library. Okay. That's the 4th. I have also, Mike, maybe this is for you and Tony to discuss with maybe Jeff, the availability of when would the town management be ready to perhaps have a department heads meeting with us?
Okay.
On
On a Monday.
a Monday.
Seems like facilities and public works are the two most.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, just full disclosure for me, I'm away from the 31st of August through probably the 13th of September.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
I was going to throw out there, would people be amenable to meeting on the 25th of August for department heads meeting, and would department heads be ready to meet on the 25th? Mike, if you could check that out.
I will.
That'll conflict for Ernie now.
Oh, that is, thank you. Yeah,
So the 18th would be
the 18th.
I mean, in theory, there shouldn't be too much difference between the 4th and the 18th, right?
Yeah.
I'll pitch it. Why don't I pitch it to Tony and the departments for August 18th?
But let's just, yeah, okay, let's go August 18th. If that's not, if like August the 18th, the week of is too early. We already talked about the 25th being planning board, but,
How about September, the second Monday in September then?
Maybe planning board.
Yeah,
24th?
and the
I was kind of hoping that, we could probably have the department head meeting. I know we said Mondays, but looking at our August. When is
Thursdays,
your meeting for
Tuesdays.
the second and fourth?
It's usually the third Tuesday of the month.
So the third Tuesday would be the 19th. What
So-
if? I think the Board of Selectmen, we are only having one meeting. Which is another, what we selected for a meeting. I think it was the
12th.
I think it was the 12th.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have a meeting on the 26th, which is the Tuesday. If we can't do August 25th because it's planning board, could people do the 26th, the Tuesday? We don't have the school
August
committee.
26th.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, but
Okay.
as of right now,
All right. When we just have, first step might be Mike, just
Yeah.
having a conversation with departments and just, and I know that's, it's late summer and it's gonna be a bear to kind of schedule a meeting, but we understand that there may not be. But you're right. I think,
I'll ask.
I think the fire department and public works, in particular would be, important to be part of that department meeting.
Facilities. Yeah.
And facilities, thank you. All right. So if we were to meet department heads on the 26th, and that leaves us, we can talk about it on the 26th in terms of scheduling out our meetings for September, if that works for everybody. So I don't think we need to schedule a meeting right now. Or, that's my opinion. We'll revisit the, future dates for September on the 26th. Usually after the department head meeting, I'm kind of hopeful that will be it, that when we come back in September, we will have had opportunity to consider the department head and the presentation that's given to us, work out any kinks in the program and come back in September and vote on the plan. I think that will work.
And then the selectmen, the finance commission will have time to get enough time.
Let's hope so.
Okay.
What was the deadline you're trying to shoot for to get all approved of?
Well,
No later than like the October timeframe, because that's when the warrant gets generated.
That's when the
for
articles
Yeah,
go out, yeah.
So how much before that did you want it for this?
If we can vote on the plan and the report language in like the second week of September, then that'd be fine.
Want to get back on?
The 13th.
Yeah, so that probably lines
So
up.
maybe you want to look at like the 15th
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
as a placeholder for calendars.
Yeah, I mean, that might conflict with our board meetings. I can't remember what the September, we would be, yeah, that would work out fine. Yeah, because we meet in so yeah, the week of the 15th, I'm open. All right, good. But again, the September so yeah, the week of the 15th is probably the timing that we would look to have on board for a vote. Agreeable? Folks? Okay, all right.
15th, was it?
The week of the 15th, yeah, we'll next meeting, we'll figure out what day works out best. That would be a non-planning board meeting, so maybe the 15th actually would be a good time. We'll figure that out. Good.
Okay.
Is there anything else that we get to discuss tonight? I think we got a plan. Good questions. We talked about our schedule and our agenda for future meetings. If there's nothing else, folks,
motion to adjourn?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Kevin. Seconded. David. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you,
folks.
everybody.
Bye.